So hello, my name is Hervé Thys, This, like this in English. My English is very French, I'm sorry, but I'm focusing more on equations than in language. The first observation is that it is impossible to show than 100 slides in 5 minutes. So I will go as far as I can, and then I will give you my PowerPoint, my full PowerPoint. My email is always open. I'm always answering emails, in particular from scientists, and it's hervé.tits@agroparité.fr, but the organizer of SciFlu have the email. So now I have to show you about molecular and physical gastronomy. This is a scientific activity. Scientific means scientific. It is not an application in technique. It is science. And science explores the mechanism of phenomena. That's all. Now we base our works on Francis Bacon. We measure everything. But at the same time, we make experiments. It was Galileo Galilei. And we make equations because the world is written in mathematical language. So this is exactly what we are doing at our lab. We apply this method. So we have a phenomenon, we measure everything, we characterize quantitatively, then we group the data into equations, we make a theory, then we have a prediction, theoretical prediction, and then we make an experiment to test the theory. So it's very simple. Molecular and physical gastronomy was created in 1988. I'm on the left, Nicolas Curti on the right. He was in Oxford at that time, and I was in Paris. And this is the picture to make the difference between technique, technology, and science on the right. Just to show you the right place of molecular gastronomy, certainly it's part of the sciences of food, but it is as well in chemistry, physical chemistry, and physics. And there are many applications in cooking, for sure, but also in pharmacy, in cosmetics, because science can be applied everywhere. So now, why molecular and physical gastronomy? Because there are plenty of phenomena that occur during cooking, and this is what we are studying. We study the mechanism of phenomena occurring during cooking. For example, when you are grilling a steak, like here, you see the meat that was red is turning brown. Why? There is a smoke. Why? There are slits. Why? And the consistency of the meat is changing, and so on and so on. So we have plenty of phenomena to study. For soufflé as well. Soufflé is a wonderful food preparation that expand in the oven, like Durham popover, for example, or some cakes. And the question is there. We start from a macroscopic phenomenon, for example, here on top left, making a carrot stock. Then we try to explain that using microscopy. The second picture is a macroscopic picture of the carrot tissues. But in order to understand the changes in the microscopy, we need some physics. And the physics is based on equations, general equations, but in order to explain this equation, we need some chemistry. And this is why I love chemistry. I have a big passion for chemistry. And indeed, molecular and physical gastronomy is chemistry for what I'm doing all day long. Chemistry as a science, not to be confused with the application. So just some results very shortly. For example, about soufflé. In the old time, it was said that soufflé expand because the air bubbles, you whip the egg white to make a soufflé, so we have air bubbles, and it was said at that time that the air bubble expand with heat. For sure, it does. But if you apply the law of perfect gases, you calculate 30% of expansion, which is not the case because you can have 200 or 300%. And this is why I made thousands of soufflé. No, not thousands, hundreds of soufflé, probably 300 or something like this. And measuring the temperature, the pressure inside the soufflé. And finally, I discovered something very simple, but that was completely unknown at that time. Soufflé expands because water evaporates. And when you understand that, with a small 100-gram preparation, you can make 10 liters of soufflé, which is an application. A second example at the lab, we studied carrot stock. So you just put carrot in water and you eat. What's going on? Of course, it's very easy to measure the compounds that are released by the carrot. So we do that making carrot stocks. We use extensively nuclear magnetic resonance because I have a machine for me. It's very simple, very easy. And then this is a carrot stock. So you see, you have sugar, you have amino acid, you have other organic acids. So when you enlarge, you see glucose, fructose, D-glucose, sorry, D-fructose, sucrose, plus some amino acids, for example, leucine, valine, and so on. Okay, now, of course, what we want to do is to make a quantification. There is no science without quantification, I would say. And this is the curves in function of time of the concentration of the glucose, fructose, and sucrose. The sucrose are the dots at the top, the glucose and fructose at the bottom. And you see, it's very strange because the sucrose is released and seems to disappear. Indeed, no, there is a simple hydrolysis into glucose and fructose. Now we need a model. What's going on?
I think we're at time.
It's time. And then because it's time, I give you again my email, herve.this@agroparisTech.fr. And you're invited to look at the whole PowerPoint and to ask me questions at any time. I would be very happy to discuss with you. Thank you.